Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Turn for Two.
This is Rob.
And this is Anthony. And this week we have a lot of new card reveals to talk about. We've had a
A
lot since
lot.
we've had a
Lot of new
lot
card
come
reveals.
out in the past couple of weeks. Rob isn't allowed to look at Twitter anymore because we did get an enchanted leak, so Rob cannot be on Twitter.
I will not be
Um,
responding on Twitter until the set drops. I know that crushes the souls of many Lorcana players, but
I'll be
it's for
responding
my own
for
good.
Rob essentially. I'll
Yeah, you
ask
can always
Rob
just
the questions and I'll
yeah,
have to respond.
that's fine. There's ways to communicate with me if you really want to.
Yeah.
We really want to do a shout out and thanks again to Breezy for coming on the show last week. If you guys didn't hear that, our last episode, we had a nice interview with him, got some of his takes on the game and how he got involved and his thoughts on some of the stuff that we've been doing. And we went over some new cards and it's a lot of fun. He brought his normal Breezy energy and I got to thank him again for that.
Yes, it was great having him on.
And we went over some stories format stuff, and I gotta say it got a lot of positivity on Twitter/X. I know when people hate that you call it X, but sorry, that's what it's called, guys. We got a lot of really good responses, a lot of positive feedback. People saying, "Oh, I want to put this at my locals. I want to try this more often." We had some questions. We actually had a person reach out and told me that I did have one of the cards wrong on the master list. So shout out to them. They did identify that. That actually was the guy who played in our tournament, which is something we will also discuss and was unfortunately timed. But we will get to that when we get to that. But I think we can jump into Stonk review.
All right, so Stonk Review is going to be interesting the next couple weeks as we get the new set coming out, which means prices from every set's going to fluctuate.
Yeah.
Um,
As decks
with
become popular, old decks maybe die off. Ruby Amethyst. And we see the direction cards go.
yeah, and we're definitely going to be analyzing the prices throughout all of that. The only disclaimer that I'll give now and we will give then is set 3 prices are going to be crazy for a good
Yeah.
probably month. So
Pre-release pricing.
yeah, so for the first month, if you're ever worried about card pricing, don't be.
Just don't buy any.
We've seen Lilo, we've seen Cinderella, all be expensive and all drop. The only thing I know, we'll say it again in 2 weeks, is sell things when you pull them that are expensive because they will go down.
Yes.
Unless you're
When you
Beast
first
Tragic
open
Hero.
them, you just get rid of them because people are going to want all of the cards right out of the gate. And if you open that rare that you're like, I'm not really feeling like using it, just move it now. Make your money early on, and then later on, as we are helping you and guiding you along, just start to buy things when the prices seem to pop in the right directions. But speaking of popping, the enchanteds from set 1 have all shot up pretty significantly over the past week. Just because we use it as a metric. Elsa Spirit of Winter is lowest listing, $825. Market price says $686, but
I think it's the highest it's ever been.
Yeah, I don't know why it creeped up like all of that, but good for that card, I guess. Carefree Surfer Stitch is at $260. Strange but Special Belle is at $255. My girl Tinkerbell is at $243. Shout out to my lovely wife who got me one at $150 for Christmas. Thank you. It's just very interesting to watch these going in these directions. But again, we talk quickly about enchanters because, again, it's just the market that changes things like that. Everything else fluctuates much in more subtle ways. Rapunzel and Dragon still holding their spots, 35 and 33. Nothing big change there. Bells are still 24. But the only big changes are Hades gone up another couple bucks. It's up to 23 now. That card keeps being worth significant money. Ursula's crawled up a lot. She's at 15 almost. She was a solid $4 to $6 card.
I think I have one of those. I should probably get rid of that.
Yeah. I still think these are sells at this price, assuming that they do what they promised to do, and that's continually print set 1. I suppose that remains to be seen. Everybody's going to be salivating for set 3, so I don't think these prices are going to fluctuate too significantly. But I still think it's a seller's market. You can still kind of readily get this, but I think that stocks are slowly starting to dry up, like we've said were going to happen. But is that reflected in set 2, Anthony?
Yeah, so set two hasn't, other than a few of the enchanteds like Namari going down to 98 and Pete going down to 96, haven't really fluctuated a lot. Beast Tragic Hero, Beast Tragic Hero, when we were about to start recording, lowest listing was 39 something. Now the lowest listing is $40. So someone bought one while we were recording. But it has
Congrats.
gone down. It was 43.44 last week, so it has gone down a couple dollars. Not a ton, but other than that, looking at all of these prices, other than Scar Vicious Cheater went down to $5, which pains me, but is also nice to see because I think that's a really good card, and it
Yeah,
going down makes it more affordable.
yeah, you
Uh,
can get those up, I think.
Cinderella Stout Hearts $4, Arthur's are $3. I remember when those were $20.
Yeah,
Snow White
kind of
Well
case in point
Wisher,
from what you were
yeah,
saying before, right? Where these things are all going to be in reasonable price ranges once everybody kind of gets their hands on it. It seems like product is readily available. So the prices are going to be more predictable. But again, like you said, pre-release pricing, when they first come out, they're going to
yeah,
have some significant value. So if you have the ability to either trade or sell them, I think it's important to do it early.
yeah. We never had that. We had that issue, and I think it's been realized towards the and not towards the end of this set, but a month and a half in, it's going to be readily available to get some of these cards. And we didn't have that shortage we had with set one. It seems like most of our locals, at least that from what I've saw, have had pack
Mm-hmm.
week if you've wanted to get them.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I don't think
You can
I
also pre-order set three pretty readily as well. There, you can even start pre-ordering individual cards. They're listed on TCG Player. And Anthony found a very interesting little
yes
tidbit about TCG Player in particular, and that they are now have a filter for what they call properties, which is effectively
stories.
stories for stories format. So if you're really interested in making a stories format card and don't want to look at the list, you can kind of use this properties filter on TCG Player, and it has the number that are there. It'll give you some ideas with those. It's not exactly lined up with my stories format because they have the sort of, what did you say it was called? Just generic
It's
characters, standard characters.
standard characters are all
And
grouped together as like the Mickey Mouse ones, but ones like Donald Duck and stuff that we classify in DuckTales aren't separate.
so a little bit differences there, but you can get a really good idea. And you can see, oh, you can make a majority of these stories format decks if you wanted to
Yeah.
make them in real paper for pretty cheap. I think the average cost of the one I was doing was 100, which isn't, I guess, terrible to
No.
be fair, but for an entire deck.
Yeah, and one thing I'm looking at now, and just like thought would be interesting to talk about into the into the Inklands. A booster box case is 525. A booster box is 132. Troves and gift sets are the most expensive online, being 103 and 63 respectively. But stuff like starter decks are $20 a piece, which should be able to find cheaper. But the set of two starter decks are $36. So if you really have nowhere around you to go get Lorcana like that you have locals, which I feel like is there are some places that don't have locals that do Lorcana like that.
Mm-hmm.
TCG Player isn't a horrible place right now to order from. 132 is below what the suggested MSRP is. The starter decks are around MSRP. If you get both of them, they're a little under. I would not get Troves and gift sets on there right now.
No, not at that
102 and
price.
no, those are both absurd prices. I would get this Trove. I think will be one if you were debating on picking up a Trove. This is one I think that most people should pick up because of the lore counter, because of the die, because of just the
It's the
trove.
first
They're
time they've done that.
yeah, and I would say the gift set's one too, but that's only because Stitch is in it, and Stitch is one of my favorite Disney characters, so that's why I will be picking up the gift set. But I do understand if you don't want to, because I didn't pick up a set one gift set because there was nothing in there that I wanted.
I am interested in the trove for all the extra little trinkets
Yeah,
that come with it. I am now using the box from the set 2 trove that I have to put decks in because it just barely fits 2 deck boxes. And it's just kind of pretty in that regard, so I like that as well. But again, I just wait until these come out in the stores.
yeah,
You'll be able to snag a couple of these at your locals, or I guess if you want to wait, they're probably in the big box stores as well. So I think it's just a little expensive, but it's nice to see
yeah.
that you can get the stuff.
Yeah, so big box stores are 2 weeks later, but other than that, everything seems readily available. I've gone into Target enough times in the past couple weeks where I've seen Lorcana on the shelves, and it doesn't last long, don't get me wrong, but
Mm-hmm.
I think we're getting into a point, and I had someone at our Pokemon locals say to me like, "Oh, isn't that game dying?" And it's like the game really isn't dying.
It just came out. Like, how can you say that it's dying?
Right. It's not really dying. It's more of people are realizing it's not as scalpable anymore as it used to be because
Yeah, you made that
Ravensburger
comment
knows what they're
there.
doing. So they don't
Now,
they
to
now
be
they know
fair.
what they're doing. So I personally think that the game is in a really good spot right now, and from what we've been covering and seeing online, I don't think the game's going anywhere. But
Yeah.
I do think the game
Obviously.
is becoming less and less scalpable, and I think we're going to see that with set 3, which I'm very excited for.
I think it's
Um,
interesting if you look online, just quickly, again, giving TCG players some more credit, but on their site, they have the approximate pre-sale prices of some of these rares, so you can get an idea of what the general consensus of what's going to be good is. I mean, it's it's subject to some extreme change,
yeah,
but it's interesting to see. Like, they have the Piglet Pooh Pirate Captain is just below Milo Thatch, the King of Atlantis, which is just below Jim Hawkins, and those seem like pretty logical places for those. But those $38 for that is
yeah. I
buy
mean,
at
all of
your
these,
own risk.
all of these will go down. There's not a card in
Yeah,
Lorcana currently over 40. We'll say 40. I'll say over 50 because Beast fluctuates so much. It's not a card that's
sure.
over $50,
Yeah,
and I don't think there will be anytime soon, especially if they keep putting out more and more product.
as we hope that they do.
So, a place you could go to buy some singles to get your stonks is from our first sponsor, Storekana.
Storekana has been becoming increasingly popular on X, Twitter, and have a wide variety of singles and getting new stock every day.
Yep.
They've mentioned on Twitter a couple times now that they're getting gaming accessories soon, like dice, deck boxes, playmats.
I'm excited for that.
Their competitive pricing is a really good reason to go to their store. It's normally at or under TCG player value.
Yeah.
But with our promo code Turn for 2, you get 10% off your order, which would get you the cheapest price you could pay on cards delivered to your house.
That's pretty good. So I would head over to storecana.net. That's STORECANA.net and enter our code TURN4 TURNFOR, the number 2, to support their store, support us at the podcast, and support your wallet.
We can. I think we can move on to meta-analysis then. So there are a lot of decks and tournaments listed on Inkdex, but we are just going to summarize that the majority of the decks at this point are just Ruby Amethyst. And it's dominant. We know it. It's powerful. It's not that it's unbeatable, because obviously people are beating it, but the sheer number and the sheer consistency of that deck makes it an oppressive meta presence. So at this point, we've decided that we understand that it's effectively solved for set 2, and we press on to set 3. But we are going to dive into next week a little segment of the evolution of the meta for set 2 and kind of go over some of our thoughts about that real quick, real brief, just what we were feeling things were moving around as. But it's Ruby Amethyst. It's doing well. It's killing things. I've been playing a little bit on ladder. I'm not going to lie. I don't have a soul every once in a while when I want to get a couple of W's. But when I look at my Pixelborn, and I'm actually going to take 1 second and bring that up because it is actually silly. The win rate. Oh, never mind. I got to do a new download. So never mind. Lol. I believe it's an 87% win rate right now, which that just speaks for itself. I think my next highest is 64. So I get it. It's kind of fun to play, but it's also not fun to play. It's kind of the same lines over and over, which I get. Consistency is a fun thing. It's a good thing for going to tournaments, and that's why people use it. But a lot of people are sick of it to the point that they've been trying to do, and I say they as the colloquial they, the royal they've been trying to make tournaments where you can do whatever you want except for no Ruby Amethyst. I think that Tia Boyson was going to do one.
Yeah, she had
there
one
was
planned for this sometime last weekend, I think, right before our episode, or maybe it was this weekend. It was sometime soon. They had planned to do everything but Ruby Amethyst. You could play Ruby, you could play Amethyst, just not together.
Sure.
And there are a bunch of people that signed up, and we didn't follow it too closely. I know you were going to sign up for it. I think I was
Yeah.
working during it.
Yeah.
And she ended up canceling it because apparently she was getting a lot of backlash
Which is ridiculous.
On it, which is most likely from people that play Ruby Amethyst, because at the end of the day, when you can't play Ruby Amethyst and that's all you play because you have no soul, there's really not much you can do. You can pick up another deck, but when that deck is so dominant, some people don't know how to do.
Yeah, and I feel that there are a lot of those just solid Ruby Amethyst players. That's the only thing that they know how to do. And to, God forbid, pick up another deck and try that out and experience a different kind of meta, they just bring backlash to it. And I think that it was really cool that she was trying to set up another big tournament, but just to see what other things are out there and see what would sort of run rampant. And the argument is, if you take out Ruby Amethyst and you just like invite Popsicles back to the table as the big deck. But I don't know, I'd be fine with that at this point. It's just a little shakeup, a little change. It would be fun, but that's the excitement of the upcoming meta, where it's going to be completely shooken up. Who knows what's going to be dominant? I'm not saying Ruby Amethyst isn't going to be good. Come on, let's not be silly. But it's interesting to see how it's going to change. At my locals today, I was running Sapphire Steel and played against, the first deck I played against was a Amber Amethyst aggro is the word I was looking for. And it was good for a minute. I was a little scared because I was not seeing my grab your swords. I was not seeing my simple kill spells. But I ended up winning the first game at 17 when I was at 0, and I turned that around, finally established board control. That was unfortunate for them. They did not enjoy that experience. And then the next game I drew normally and it was fine. Second round, I played against a Steel Song list, which is normally kind of an evenish matchup for my deck for some reason. But again, I had some very, very silly draws off the top, which, as you know, is not something common that happens to me. So that was nice to see. I kind of just rubbed some luck into those cards and drew them the way I needed to. So that was really good.
Luck cards? Didn't know that was a thing.
It was a very tiny bit of luck, and I probably exhausted all I'm going to have for quite some time, but it still happened. And my last matchup was an interesting Sapphire Emerald build that just has so much card advantage and speed and evasiveness, and I almost won game 1, got smashed game 2. Or excuse me, yeah, I almost won game 1 and got smashed game 2 to lose, but I did win game 3 when we just played it for giggles. So it was close. I had a lot of fun. It's nice to see the different decks around there. There was some Ruby Amethyst there, but I'm ready for the new meta is really where I'm at in this. It was exciting. I liked what it did. I always love playing in tournaments, but it seems, as we've been talking about, a little bit quote unquote solved. So I'm excited to see it get shaken up.
Yeah.
Do you know what that makes it?
I do not. What does that make it?
Cooking time!
All right, so this week for Cooking Time, we did put out a challenge through Twitter, but with all the reveals and everything going on this week, you didn't get any responses. So instead, Rob had a bunch of packs sitting around, and Rob was fiending for set 3. And since set 3 has another 2 weeks, Rob decided we were going to do a draft. This is the first time even though this is an impromptu Cooking Time challenge, this is the first time I've ever beaten Rob. So I'm now 1-2 against Rob.
If you can count that as a Cooking Time challenge, then yes, you did win.
My impromptu one, so it is I'm taking this as a win and running with it.
So you had drafted a bunch of evasive cards.
I think other than maybe 2 I drafted every single one I could.
And I did draft a Peter Pan Shadow.
Yep, I hated that card. You should just have passed it to me.
And I had one other card, and it was funny because you really early picked that 3/2 Cruella de Vil that I thought was going to wheel one time, but you straight up snagged that thing. That would have helped me immensely.
Yep. Anytime I saw something that said evasive, I had to grab it. We did have some very close games,
but I believe you won all. No, I won one. So
No,
it
you
was.
won one.
It
Yeah.
was. We did of three, and you won three, and I won one. So we're gonna be talking a little bit more about draft as the next set comes out, because that is my favorite way to open new packs.
I
You can always
agree.
just crack them and look at them, but that's not nearly as exciting to me. So we'll be talking about draft strategies and things like that with the next set coming out. But it's unfortunate that our tournament was at the literal exact time where they were doing a live stream where they revealed a bunch of cards,
Yeah.
which definitely affected our ability to get people to participate.
Yeah, so Ravensburger decided to announce maybe 2-3 hours before our tournament, hey guys, we're going to reveal all these cards at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we pushed our tournament back to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time so
So
we
we
could
could get
let some more
Breezy
people.
involved, yeah.
Yeah,
But
so a lot of players didn't show. We only had 4 people play. We had Rob played, and then we had 3 other people. Um,
we had that
we had,
really, really awesome
yeah,
player
so
from England. I
yeah,
don't know
so
where
his
in
name
England.
is
Yeah,
Toasty
go ahead.
Muppet, or his username was Toasty M4,
Right.
who ended up winning the tournament.
Yes, congratulations,
Um,
Toasty.
he was up. I think he said it was 1 a.m. or 12 a.m. But he was
That
up
is
for a good. He was up very late for our tournament.
chef's
That was at
kiss for
7.
participating. That is so cool that you just from across the ocean decided, hey, these guys deserve my time, and we
Yeah,
really, really appreciate it. And you won the whole thing.
and called
I'm
Rob out on getting a card wrong.
Yes, he was the one who told me that a card was wrong, and he was absolutely correct. So I'm glad we fixed that. But I have his deck right here. He ended up going with a Cinderella Rhea deck, which is really interesting. So Cinderella gives you access to the Cinderellas, so the 7 cost and the 2 costs, or 2 cost and 1 cost. He went a hard 4 Grand Duke to boost, and he did get some success with that when I was playing against him. The full Fairy Godmother package, because that card is really good. And then the support pieces with Rhea and Amari, the little Rhea that turns. It's like a baby Scar. He apparently only had one of Lucifer, but I saw that almost every game we played. It was a lot of really interesting combo pieces, and he was doing things with Sisu and Amari going off the Fairy Godmother, and just having access to all these colors like the stories format allows. You get some pretty interesting things. So congratulations on that. That was really cool. And our buddy Dominic participated.
Yep.
He went with Beauty and the Beast and Tangled. And Tangled is one of my favorite. It has a lot of interesting synergies, but he went hard into the Beauty and the Beast package because, to be fair, you can have just a Beauty and the Beast deck because it's so powerful. But you get your grab, your swords, your sad beast, relentless beast. He had the 3/3 bell, the 5 cost emerald that when it's challenged, your opponent discards their hand. He had LeFou's to turn things back. He could heal with Rapunzel's, Flynn Riders for early stuff, and it worked. He was the guy that I lost to. He had just a little more gas in the tank with a lot of these Beauty and the Beast cards.
Yeah, Dom's always got a lot of gas in the tank.
And so I put Josh's deck up here.
So his social media manager, Josh.
Yes, his deck was called Sleeping and Stoned, which was Sleeping Beauty and
Sword in the
Sword in the Stone. And it's very similar to his typical aggro list. But instead of the LeFou, for instance, he has the blue Aurora, which is a 2/2 that turns for 2. Fits the same slot. I really like that he snuck in 2 of the purple dragons and 2 of the Maleficent dragons, which is when you get those things in play, they do things. He had Dragonfire. I don't know. Not against me, he didn't. But Shield of Virtue allows him to untap things. He had the Legend of Sword and Stone to do extra damage. Befuddles, big Aurora to cover everything with Ward. And then your normal little Maleficent goons, Merlin squirrel little pieces to move things around with the bounce package of Madame Mim Fox. It was a very interesting build. I really liked it. And mine was Frazzled. It was the deck that I played against Anthony for the story time challenge with Frozen and Tangled. It's got the Tangled package. It's got the Mother Gothel 3/4 that takes 3 damage when it comes into play, and the lanterns to kind of cheat them in, and then you heal them with the 1/4 Rapunzel, and then you draw 3 cards. Feels very nice. I did that many games. There's the rest of the healing package in there through the 2-cost Rapunzel, and all this healing allows you to then gain lore with Grand Pobby, which I did a couple of times. And it was a lot of fun. I'm really excited to see what other people put together for this. Again, when it is more timely, I'm hoping we can get some more participants in that. A lot of people have been giving us some positive feedback, and I'd like to see their ideas and get moving with that. It's an exciting format. I think it's really going to become something. And as I see set 3 dropping, and I've been slowly but steadily trickling my work onto the master list, I can see different lines of play happening, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, and I think everyone seemed to have a lot of fun. We've got a lot of positive reactions on Twitter about it. People seem to be liking this format. I had someone, I think Breezy, said to us that it was he thought it was the best format that wasn't standard right now.
Yeah, and it allows, he said, I don't know if it was he or one of the other people were talking about, saying let's try to get that at locals as just another way to get people to play.
Yeah, I think it's and I've talked about this with a couple of our friends. It's like, I just think it's a very easy way to get a younger audience into the game, because being able to give a younger audience, being able to give a younger audience 2 of their favorite movies and just say, here you go, play with these cards and these characters and these songs that you know and love and grew up with, just brings a whole new
world,
a whole new demographic to the game. Yeah, a whole new world.
So I am actually, when I go visit my parents upstate, I am going to bring them. I'm going to make a deck for each of them that has their favorite movies in it. My father's is going to have probably Sword in the Stone. I know he loves that. I would love to put Lady and the Tramp for my mother. So I'm going to have to wait till set 4, maybe. I know that's one of her favorite movies. But I know this is something, my mom is one of the best game players. She taught me how to play games way back when. She picks up these complicated games, and she's like, am I going too slow? I'm like, no, you're fine. Just keep going. And she gets enthusiastic about it, and she is the biggest Disney nut I know, and she's the one who got me into Disney and why I'm so big into it. So to just see her both play a game and then get to interact with her favorite universes, I'm excited to see what it is. And honestly, I might record it. We could put that on as like a little bonus episode to just hear how excited it's just going to sing the songs and everything. It's pretty funny. Do you hear that sound?
I do hear that sound.
Do you know what that sound is?
I do not. What is that sound?
This time you know what that sound is. It's definitely...
All right, so in the past week since we've recorded and uploaded our episode, probably about a fourth of the set's been revealed. So it's been a fun week of keeping up with Set 3 on Twitter. Toasty Muppet asked us in our Discord what we thought about it. Personally, I'm a big fan of not seeing all the cards at first and waiting till the set comes out. Yes. I know you definitely like that. I don't mind seeing cards early. I think it's good to see cards like the starter deck stuff. I just wish some of these like legendaries and stuff didn't get leaked so early, because it's nice for the set to come out, and then even if you just go and look at a set list, it's nice to just wait and have that anticipation where it's like, now all these cards are leaking, and it's nice to be able to cover them, but it's so overwhelming every week to have to keep up with all of these new cards that come out each week.
But I think that there's excitement in opening a pack and just seeing a new card you haven't seen before. And I think that's exciting, which is why I try to avoid spoilers as much as I can. This is, as I documented before, is a necessary evil. But we got a chunk to go through. So let's dive into it.
So first we have 4-cost Inkable Amber Joshua Sweet, the Doctor. He is a 1/5 with a bodyguard, and he turns for 2.
I think that's...
And I think one thing we'll realize, we won't read all the flavor text, but one thing with the flavor text I'm realizing is we're getting a lot more Lorcana flavor text than movie flavor text in some of these.
I like that.
The flavor text for Joshua is heading out into the Inklands, come on back if you need patching up, which is an obvious nod to Into the Inklands, the set.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of them that talk about the Inklands and
Or in
Lorcana
and all these different little things. I agree. It's
yeah.
very interesting. As far as the card goes, I think a 1/5 that turns for 2 and is a bodyguard is really cool. It's not taking things out as a bodyguard, but it is being a bodyguard. A 5 butt is pretty big.
Yeah,
And
it's a
you don't mind turning with it.
It's a slightly worse, slightly better Maximus. Maximus is a 4/5 with bodyguard. He costs 5
And support.
and he has support, which is always nice, but he only turns for 1. So you sacrifice the 3 extra strength and the support for the turning for 2. So it's basically Rapunzel, but instead of having its ability, it just has bodyguard.
So our next card is the 3-cost uninkable item, Captain Hook's Rapier. It is get those scurvy brats during your turn. Whenever one of your characters banishes another character in a challenge, you may pay 1 to draw a card. That was the other card I was trying to talk to my friend about earlier today. The other ability is Let's Have At It. Your character's named Captain Hook, gain Challenger 1. That second part is a cute bonus, but the first one is kind of playable. Whenever your character banishes another character in a challenge, it's in silver. Silver is you can always weaken things with the silver damaging spells and songs and finish them off during combat. You can also draw 2 cards if you knock something out with like a dreadnought per se, and pay 1 and draw 2 cards. So I think it's interesting. I don't know that it finds a slot as a 3-cost uninkable.
Yeah, so next up we have the 2-cost inkable Emerald Helga Sinclair, Vengeful Partner. She is a 2/1 that turns for 1 with the ability Nothing Personal. When this character is challenged and banish the challenging character, which pairs really well with the next card, if you want to talk about that, Rob.
Oh, the 5-cost shiftable one?
Yes.
So Helga Sinclair also has a Floodborn variant, the 5-cost uninkable Emerald Floodborn Villain. She's a 4/4 that turns for 2 but shifts for 3. This changes everything. Whenever this character quests, you may deal 3 damage to chosen damaged character. I think that the first one being just another kind of kitten face, the 03 Emerald Cheshire Cat ability is nice. So even if you're not killing something, you're at least taking... Or if you're not killing something on the attack, you're taking something with you.
Right.
When it gets revenge attack, but only turning for 1 makes it less attractive, but turning it into this interesting 4/4 that turns for 2. The problem with the femme fatale Helga Sinclair, in my opinion, is you got to turn with her to then deal 3 damage to a damaged character. If it was the damaged character or location, now we're talking. Now it's something I'm interested in. To just deal 3 damage to a damaged character is probably going to be overkill on whatever you're killing.
Especially on turn 3 if you're shifting it. There's not a ton. It's nice to turn for 2.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot that's going to be... unless they're playing just in time, they're not getting anything out super huge on turn 3 that's going to require... That's either damaged or... Especially the only thing that's really going to be damaged unless they're attacking into you is something that's getting teeth and ambition, and even then that's just 1 damage.
And then you're... I think that the art is pretty cool. I think it's a really interesting sort of version of her, but I'm not impressed with the card.
Yeah. So next we have It Calls Me. It's an Amethyst action song. It is a 1-cost inkable. Draw a card, choose up to 3 cards from your opponent's discard pile and shuffle them back into your opponent's deck. I don't like this card. This card is bad.
I like to sing a song for 1 that draws you a card. I think that's pretty cool. But I don't know why you would want to put your opponent's cards from the discard back into their deck.
But if you're doing it
crazy recursion engine, maybe. I think it's more the first part than the second part. And it says up to 3. I don't know if that allows you to pick 0. I would hope that it does. But if it's just pay 1 to sing a song that draws you a card, that's just a cheaper half of a Friends on the Other Side, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, normally up to 3 normally means you have to do 1, but if you, especially for a 1-cost, if you're playing it turn 1, there's nothing in their discard normally to shuffle back into their deck.
Right.
So sometimes you're just getting away with drawing a card.
It's kind of like a popsicle, but a song. I think it's going to see some play, honestly, as a
Yeah.
1-cost draw card. But I agree with you that it's the other part of it's meh. Our next card is the 3-cost uninkable emerald card, Robin's Bow. It's an item, has Forest Gift. You do Robin's ability, which is exert it to deal 1 damage. Oh,
Chosen character
again,
or
it's
location.
damaged again, but deal 1 damage to chosen damaged character or location. So kind of what I wanted Helga Sinclair to be, but only
Yeah.
1. It does have another ability, a bit of a lark. Whenever a character of yours named Robin Hood quests, you may ready this item. So that's really good in stories format when you have a
Hmm.
whole bunch of different Robin Hoods in different colors. There's the blue one, the green one, and the steel one. So you can just get this activated a few times. That's pretty silly, but otherwise, meh, not impressed.
It synergizes well with the steel one, but yeah, I agree. Next, we
Uh,
have the. Oh,
yes,
you want to take this one? Because I'm going
I
to
do,
do
just because I love this
Yeah.
card. This is the Firebird, Force of Destruction. It is a 4-cost inkable amethyst Dreamborn villain that is a 6/2 that turns for 1. That is a smashing card.
The art on this card is beautiful, and I know we
Yes,
won't get an enchanted of this because it's not like
it's
enchanted.
not popular enough.
Word,
Yeah,
yeah, but they're like a full art version of this. If they had something under enchanted, would be so pretty because
yeah.
the
I
art on
wish
this
they had
card is
colors.
beautiful.
It's the Firebird from Fantasia 2000. So actually, this card, again, speaking of stories format, goes into the world of Mickey Mouse. So that's an interesting little tidbit. But I think a 4-cost 6/2 is pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's pretty easy to kill, sure, but you are taking something down with it if it survives a turn. And there's if you can give it reckless, you can chuck it at somebody with dive bomb. So that can be kind of cool too.
yeah. So next up we have Maui. He is a 3-cost uninkable 5/2 ruby card because that's what we need. He has Reckless, and he has his ability In My Stomach. Every time your character is named Hey Hey Quest, this character gains 1 lore pip and loses Reckless for this turn. So if you have, in Back to Stories format, if you have 3 different Hey Heys in play,
Which
and
I
you,
just saw that the third one, and I would called it. There's a third.
yeah,
Spoiler, spoiler.
so if you turn with 3 Hey Heys, you can then turn for 3 after, so.
Yeah. I think a 5/2 for 3 is also decent, but the uninkable makes it hard to find the space.
Yeah. So next we have 5-cost inkable steel Thaddeus E. Kang, Metalhead. He is a storyborn villain. He's 3/5. He turns for 2, and his ability Sharp Jaw. Whenever this character quests while at a location, you may deal 1 damage to chosen character. I'm a big fan of this. I think this is pretty good.
Tell me why.
Being able to deal 1 damage you're turning for 2, and being able to deal damage while at a location just to ping something feels good. It's a little expensive, but aside from that, I think it's pretty good.
I could see it going with the cards we were talking about previously, like the bow and Helga Sinclair that need to hit damage things. So it'll give you that
Yep.
1 ping damage to start things off. But resist is a thing, and doing 1 damage is a little scary sometimes. But I think that it's meh. I think it's an interesting draft card, but I'm not sold on the fact that you have to pay 5 for the 3/5, have it survive a turn, which it's got a big enough butt it should, and then you have to then pay to attach it to a location, then turn with it, and then you get to deal 1 damage or something. It just feels lackluster.
Next, we have the 2-cost inkable Orville Flying Ace. He's a 1/4 that turns for 1. He's an amber card. Not much to talk about there. He's
I
4
do love
bucks, pretty big.
Gave him a card.
Yeah.
It's just
Um,
it's
I
pretty.
think you.
There's only 1 force for 2.
I think you know what this does. You can take this.
I could figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
4-cost uninkable steel Mickey Mouse trumpeter.
Trumpeteer, I think. Yeah, trumpeter. No, you're right.
Okay. He's an 0/1, and he has Der Ruff Erklingt.
It is. It translates to bugle call.
Okay. I like Der Ruff Erklingt more, but that's okay. Exert, pay 2. You can play a character from your hand for free.
Yep.
I think that's really neat. It's an old Magic card, which was all about on Twitter. Elvish Piper, I believe, that does the exact same thing effectively. I think it's really neat. An O1 is super easy to kill. We've already seen a couple of cards that could kill it that we've just started talking about. So it feels real bad to play a 4-cost uninkable and then have it die before you get to play your free thing.
Yeah, I think being able to play a turn early with just in time feels nice, or using lanterns to put it out early. I do think there are things like that Tiana location that I think gives everything +2 resist or something, and pairing it with Cogsworth. There are going to be ways that people try to use this. I don't think it's going to be great. I think it could work in stories format, especially when you're not expecting it. If you don't have a kill spell to get rid of it, and someone just goes plop, I'm going to play this 10-cost kill spell that we'll talk about in a little bit,
or just a 9/9 Goofy that turns for 4.
Yeah, exactly.
It's in the same color.
It's also it's also coincidentally steel.
And again, stories format, Goofy is in Mickey Mouse's category right now,
right?
So they can go together. I think it's a lot of fun. Somebody's going to figure out how to keep it alive. They're going to give it board, and they're going to give it resist, and I guess it's best paired with blue.
Yeah.
But cheating things into play is a lot of fun, so I'm interested in it. I'm on the fence about whether or not it's going to be playable, but it's fun, and that's really all that matters.
So next up, we have 1-cost inkable Amber Boss's Orders. Switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their. Oh wait, that's the wrong boss's orders. Chosen character gains support this turn, so it's just a Scepter of Arendelle, but it's an action.
So, which is also Work Together, which is a terrible, terrible card from the first set. I said it of the 204 cards in the first set, it was the worst. And I believe that this is of equivalent goodness, although the art's nice.
They had to jump on the Pokemon trend. They wanted to get a card. Next, we have Elvish Piper. Now we have Boss's Orders. We're gonna get something from Yu-Gi-Oh next.
So I know the next one is Little John. I'm gonna say it's Friend of Robin.
Robin Hood's companion.
Okay, he's a
3-cost inkable steel 2/4 turns for 1.
He's bodyguard.
Bodyguard, yep. And he has disguise. During your turn, he gains evasive.
See, I can read enough French to figure that out. I think that's cool. I like a 2/4 bodyguard for 3.
Yeah.
I think what is Donald Duck is a 2/5 bodyguard for 4. So this is just a little bit better. He also gains evasive, so he can just go sniping evasive things. Well, I like this card. I think that this will be interesting in sort of a bodyguard deck. And you can always use that. What is it? That tabard that you can draw cards with bodyguards. I think that's
yes.
We'll quickly touch on Nutsy, Vulture Henchman, a 2-cost inkable ruby 2/3 that turns for 1. Just cute card from Robin Hood. He's just walking on the ramparts. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Next we have 2-cost inkable Sir Hiss, aggravating
asp.
Thank you. I read it in my head and it didn't want
not with your mouth.
Nope. It is a 3/1 with evasive that turns for 1. It's there. I mean, it's like
kills many.
Yeah, what was that card that I was using against you the other day that you did
Ratigan.
not want me to play? Ratigan. It's just a slightly weaker, slightly less expensive Ratigan. I don't think it's bad in draft. It's really not bad in draft when you take all your the evasives out of the draft pack, so your opponents can't get any of them.
That's true. I think that there's already plenty of evasive in Ruby, and I don't know that you need to fit this in unless you're going like a strict evasive only build, which I suppose is a thing. Otherwise, the art is fantastic. It's definitely
and there's a hidden Mickey on the chain around his chest. Just thought I'd point that out real quick.
Did you find that on your own?
Yeah, I saw it earlier when we were looking through the cards.
Good boy. The next card is 2-cost inkable Skippy, Energetic Rabbit. He's a Ruby 2/2 Storyborn ally. It's a 2/2 that turns for 1 with Ward. Very basic card.
Yep.
It's pretty useless if it doesn't evolve into something.
So next we have 1-cost inkable Silver or Steel Robin Hood Beloved Outlaw. He's a 2/2 that turns for 1. Not much there, but his shift target or he is a shift target for the 5-cost inkable Floodborn Robin Hood Champion of Sheerwood. He's a 3/6 shift for 3 that turns for 2. With his ability Skilled Combatant, during your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, gain 2 lore. And the good of others, when this character is banished in a challenge, you may draw a card. I think this is great. It's a legendary. I think it's going to be up there in price when it first comes out. And can I just say I love the art of the arrow shooting over the gray little border of the card.
Yeah, I think that's going through that door.
The door, yeah.
Yeah. He's saving that little girl. It's like a great scene. Again, adds to the Robin Hood format, got a lot since it didn't have nearly anything. There's a lot of fun stuff with that. Gaining lore is always good. And a 3/6 is going to be able to banish things in the challenge. And then you just get that extra little replacement when he gets destroyed for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's when it's banished in a challenge. So it does have to be banished in a challenge to draw that card. So
Yeah.
a little less good there. I think it'll see maybe some play. I'm not super sold on it. I'm not excited about that being a gold rare. That feels more like a silver rare to me. But it's interesting. I like to see it.
Yeah, I think the arrow is coming from the side because the other ones are stuck in the door, and I think it's going off of the card to emphasize it's passing the card. The door. But either way,
you're right. The little frame break there too. That's pretty cool.
That is art that I'm excited for. I'm always excited to see art that extends off of the card. I think you could also see behind the little part where the text is, there's a little barrel in the corner. So I always like being able to see a little bit through the card and just be able to look around and experience more of the card.
I'm with you on that. Our next card is also steel. Little John, Resourceful Outlaw. He is a 4/5 steel Floodborn hero. 6-cost inkable. He shifts for 4. He turns for 2. And when this character is exerted, your characters with bodyguard gain resist 1 and 1 pip of lore. So stack a couple of these guys together and your bodyguards just start turning for silliness. Yeah. I really am excited for the idea of a bodyguard deck. To be fair, when everything has bodyguard, nothing has bodyguard. So that is an interesting piece. But with all these bodyguards running around, you could certainly protect your Mickey Mouse trumpeter with all of them. It's fun to see where it's going. And I'm assuming this is from the starter deck since it's all these kind of steel Robin Hood cards.
Yeah. So next we have 4-cost uninkable Steel Sheriff of Nottingham, Corrupt Official. He is a 2/4 that turns for 1. Taxes should hurt. Whenever you discard a card, you may deal 1 damage to chosen opposing character. There seems to be a theme with with some of the steel cards that with the dealing the damage and.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is going to be even more important with all this little pinging going on. But
yeah, I like
4-cost uninkable.
Yeah, I like the art and
art's great.
Art's great.
Stealing those coins, he's laughing about it. You can really feel that his sort of evil in there. I'm going to try to do this next one. I know it's missed me.
I was going to say you have the article for this if you want to.
Oh, well, I'm still going to try it. It's again, I think I know enough about this. I don't know what Matalos and Pote means. So 2-cost Mr. Me. What is it?
Clumsy Sailor.
Oh, wow. Clumsy Sailor. He is a 2-cost inkable steel card that is a 3/3 that turns for 2. And ooh la la la. La. There's 4 laws. Ooh la 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 la. At the end of your turn, if you don't control a captain, he takes a damage.
At the end of your turn, if this character is exerted while you do not have a captain character in play, deal 1 damage to this character. You were close.
I was close. I'll take that. I think that card is really cool. Even if you don't have a captain and it hits himself, who cares? It's still a 3/3 for 2 that turns for 2. That's silly.
Yeah, I think that's pretty
really, really good, actually. I didn't know what it did until you gave me that, but that's interesting. Oh, do I have the article for this guy?
Yes, this is the one I sent you because we're on the nice stretch of like 20 different.
Oh, that's right there in a different language. Go ahead, you got it.
We have the 3-cost inkable Gyro Gearloose Gadget Genius. He's a 1/4 that turns for 1. Follow the twists of my genius brain. Tap him. Put an item from your discard pile to the top of your deck.
It's Gyro.
I call him Gyro.
I guess you're gonna draw it, so you can then just draw into it, which is nice. But
yeah, there's nothing like that forces you to shuffle your deck really in this game that they couldn't do that.
That's
and
true.
There really isn't any mill yet.
Deck, so
there's like maybe one card.
I suppose if you really didn't want an item, you could then also Mickey Mouse at that turn or Winnie the Pooh it. I don't think it's necessary. I think it's more of a bonus card. I don't know that it's going to see that kind of play, but maybe there's going to be, I don't know, items being thrown around with, what is that? Yeet card. Where you can deal 5 damage and sacrifice. No, you deal 5 damage, you sacrifice your item. Launch.
Launch, yep.
So I got this whale. I'm going to
giant whale.
Find it. Where's that card? Oh, okay. So I have Maui Whale, the 7-cost inkable 8/8 Storyborn hero and deity. Then this mission is over. This character doesn't ready at the start of your turn. Makes sense. Don't worry, I'm here. Pay 2 and you can ready this character. He cannot quest for the rest of this turn. Oh, that's... I guess that's fine.
I mean, he's just a giant beat stick.
If I keep paying two for him every turn, I don't think that's worth it.
You also have Shield of Virtue, which I guess you're paying 3.
Right, so you're paying even more.
So I guess it doesn't matter. I mean, you have the nice thing is you're getting a lot of Maui I mean, this is more of a stories format mind, but like you're getting all these Maui's transformations, and you have the Maui's hook, which I really don't remember off the top of my head what it does, but I think it has some synergy with this. I'm gonna go back and try to
It's right up at the top of this list. I'll bring it up for you.
Oh, is it? I thought it was at the bottom of the list.
It's Maui's hook is, well, we'll talk about it. 3-cost inkable. I think we already did talk about this. 3-cost inkable red, ruby item, Maui's fish hook. It's Maui time. If you have a character named Maui in play, you may use the next abilities for free, which are the shapeshift abilities, which is pay 2 and exert, choose 1. Chosen character gains evasive until the start of your next turn, or chosen character gets 3 extra strength this
challenge
turn.
Yeah.
So
I guess it doesn't
make an 11/8 or
just give it evasive so it can't die.
But yeah, that doesn't actually really synergize, I guess.
But it's a giant whale.
That it is.
So next is the 5-cost inkable Amethyst Maleficent, which I think everyone thinks this is another one that's getting it enchanted because of just how powerful it is. It is a 2/3 that turns for 2. Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. Arcane Knowledge. When this character quests, you may draw a card. And Divination. When you draw a card during your turn, you may move 1 damage counter from chosen character to chosen opposing character. This card is really good.
Okay. Tell me.
Drawing is not big in Lorcana right now, so being able to gain 2 lore and draw a card every turn that it plays is good.
It's still a 2/3 for 5.
There's a lot of locations that give characters resist that help her stay alive.
There's one location that gives resist, isn't there?
No, there's 2. I think the Tiana one and the Maui one both do.
I think the Tiana one is you can't be challenged.
Oh, that might be, or targeted by something. Yeah, it's one. Yeah.
I just feel like if you're gonna pay 5 for something, it needs to be a little more survivable. 2/3 is you're gonna get 1 turn out of this. So for 5, you're gaining 2 lore, drawing a card, and moving a damage counter from a chosen character to an opposing character. If you're drawing a bunch of cards, maybe you can move some damage around. That might be silly, but I don't think that the juice is worth the squeeze. It feels more like a 4-cost, and it's not quite getting there for me. I have to talk about this wonderful.
Both of the next 2.
So the first one is Magic Brew Dancing Duster. It is a Dreamborn Broom. It is a 3/3 uninkable 6-cost amethyst card that turns for 1 and has energetic cleaning. When you play this character, if you have a sorcerer character in play, you may exert chosen opposing character, and they can't ready at the start of their next turn. So it is a slightly cheaper, significantly worse Elsa.
Yeah.
and I'm not impressed with that one. I do slightly, however, more like the Magic Broom Fast Cleaner, which is also a new broom being printed, a 5-cost uninkable amethyst card. It is a 4/4 that turns for 2, which was my prediction for the next broom. It has Rush and clean this, clean that. When you play this character, you may shuffle all the broom cards from your discard pile into your deck. I think that they're playing with a lot of fun broom cards. I don't think that these are strong enough yet together to justify the broom deck, but I would like to see it in action. And I'm really happy that they made one that turns for 2, which is what my hope was. And you can kind of break it a little bit with the new location that gives him +1 pip. I think it's cute, it's interesting, but 5 and a 6-cost uninkable is not particularly attractive.
Next, we have 2-cost inkable Touched My Heart action song, and it's just banish chosen item. It's Emerald, which is nice.
Emerald needed item destruction, which they didn't really have, so that's neat.
Yeah.
It's Clarabelle, so finally she gets some love, even though it's not her herself. But I don't think it's really worth a slot unless you're really scared that both of your colors aren't covering items, which is important, I suppose. Do I have this Simba?
It should be the next one.
It is. So the next card is 7-cost inkable Simba Prince. What is it? Oh, Fighting Prince. Excuse me.
Fighting Prince.
Dreamboner Hero Prince. He's a 5/7 that turns for 2. When you play this character, or whenever he banishes another character in a challenge during your turn, choose one. Draw 2 cards, then choose and discard 2 cards, or deal 2 damage to chosen character. So kind of you can either use the draw 2 get discard 2 ability, or use the same ability that Giant Tinkerbell has.
Mm-hmm.
It feels too expensive for what you're getting, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's cool. I'm glad that there's another Simba card. He's got these cool like tattoos on his skin. It's a very pretty card, but it's not getting there for me.
So next we have 1-cost inkable Zazu. I'm gonna try
Manager
to guess.
of the Pride Lands.
I clicked off the article. I want to see if I can guess what this does. It's a 2/1 Emerald card that turns for 2. Character I'm guessing it's at a location +1.
Whenever this character is at a location, he gains +1. You got it. So again,
that's not bad. For 1 cost, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, and it's a 2/1's just as easy. It's very easy to kill with a lot of the cards that we've been talking about. But all you need to do is turn once with this for 2, and you made your money back. There are a couple of 1-costs locations, I'm pretty sure. So you'd be able to move this over pretty easy. You might be able to just kind of spam it. I think it's a solid draft card because I think that stadiums are very good draft cards. Excuse me, locations. I'm decent about it.
Yeah.
Talk to me about Kita. What's this thing all about?
Kita is the 5-cost inkable Protector of Atlantis. She's a 3/5 turns for 2, shifts for 3, Floodborn. Perhaps we can save our future. When you play this character, all characters get -3 until the start of your next turn. I think this card is terrible.
I agree.
Because it does not exclude your characters, which means your characters also get -3. So why would you want to play this?
I'm sure there's something that makes it good, but
I mean, being able to turn for everything and they can't do anything about it other than use removal spells is good. But I mean, I guess I could see this being like an Amber. This is Amber, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that. I could see like an Amber Sapphire deck with like Cogsworth and Aurora, where it has wards, so nothing can be targeted. I don't even know if you have Cogsworth. I think you could just also have the Grandpappy, and just if you have a bunch of stuff that's turning, then sure. But aside from that, like I don't see a big reason to not, unless you just are in a bad position and need to catch up on lore. I don't see a great reason to play this card.
I think that all characters getting -3 until the start of your next turn, if you play that character at the end of your turn, then you're just neutering their side for an entire turn, so they can't really swing back. Perhaps that is. I think that's decently powerful, that ability towards the end, if you can do it like that. Otherwise, I am not convinced that this belongs as a legendary rare.
I also agree.
Interesting art where she's turning into this like yellow form. I think that the movie she turned blue, if I remember correctly. I want to see somebody do something with it. I think that, nerfing all of their side of the field for a turn has its applications. I just don't feel that strongly about it, to be fair.
Yeah, I agree.
So the next several cards are Peter Pan cards. I presume this is also from the starter deck. Starting with 4-cost Inkable Cubby, Mighty Lost Boy. He's a 3/5 that turns for 1 Emerald card. Storyborn Ally, the Bear. Whenever this character moves to a location, he gets 3 strength this turn. So 6/5 for 4 is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Again, has to survive, has to move, got to pay for the stuff. We know about that. But this is a great draft card.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think it's interesting.
Yeah. Next, we have the 3-cost Peter Pan Neverland Hero. He's a 1/3 Ruby that has Rush. Turns for 2. We love turning for 2.
We sure do.
Over here, Tink. While you have a character named Tinkerbell in play, this character gets +2 strength. Pretty good. Not great, not bad. I think this can be good in certain decks, but I think this card gets better with Tinkerbell. It's a good shift target, which the shift target's a little higher up on this list, so we'll talk about it later. But
I'm never sure why you would want a 1/3 with Rush, and I realize it's a 3/3 with Rush if you have a Tinkerbell in play. And why have something with Rush that turns for 2? Those are not those. You don't want both of those things. You want one.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
It's like a bad Rush, but a bad turn for 2 card. Unless again, stories format, it's a great card. But other than that, not impressed. Next is 7-cost Inkable Starkey, Devious Pirate. Is an Emerald 6/6 Storyborn Ally Pirate. He turns for 3. Yeah, the 6/6 turns for 3 is good, but I feel like there are probably better payoff cards at 7. But he does have the Pirate qualifier, so that may include him in a couple of pieces there. But otherwise, just a neat card.
Yeah.
Cool art. I like him kind of like bushwhacking, holding the sword in his teeth. It's kind of cool.
Next, we have 4-cost Inkable Slightly. He is a Ruby 4/3 Lost Boy, Storyborn Ally. If you have characters named Peter Pan in play, you pay 1 less to pay this character. Pay 1 less to play this character.
I think you should just say that whole thing again.
If you have a character named Peter Pan in play, you pay 1 less to play this character. Evasive, only characters with evasive can challenge, and it turns for 1. I like the art with Starkey in the background and him hiding, and it looks like he's about to get trapped.
Yeah, he's doing some silliness there.
But other than that, it's all right.
I don't really like it,
which is nice.
I think a 4/3 evasive, that's fine. You're going to be killing stuff with a great draft card. Unimpressive otherwise.
Can't wait to take all of these out of the draft piles so you can't get them, and I can just keep.
I think there's too many now at this point.
Keep whacking with them.
I do not know what that dog's name is.
It is Patch Little Menace. He is a Storyborn Puppy, 4-cost Inkable Amber card that is a 3/4 and turns for 1. His ability is Bark. Exert him. Give another chosen character -2 strength until the start of their next turn. I don't think this is bad, especially if you're playing with the 101 Dalmatians cards in your deck or doing stories format. Giving something -2 until the start of your next turn is actually pretty good. I think.
I don't think at 4 it is. There's a 3/4 that costs 2 that's called Mother Gothel. I realize it damages itself, but you do that on purpose. Giving something -2 strength does have application. Again, probably a decent draft card, but I don't think that it's got a spot in a deck. I love that this. I love this next card.
Quick context. I showed this card to Rob when we were at our league on Thursday, and I said, "Hey, Rob, what do you think the name of this card is?" And this was before Rob has ever seen the card. And Rob, what did you tell me the name of this card was?
Itty Bitty Living Space.
And yes, the card is Genie Itty Bitty Living Space. It is a 2-cost inkable 2/2 that turns for 2.
Phenomenal cosmic powers. Itty bitty living space. I was so happy that's what it was. It's a 2/2 that turns for 2. For 2. I think that's a good cost. That's why it's
It's
an
a
uncommon.
2/2/2/2.
Yeah, those are good. It just gives you a little bit of lore early. There's shift targets for Genie. It's an amazing art. I want this. I want all of these in foil. I love this card. It's I'm just happy. It doesn't. It's I don't know why we're talking this much about it, but it's because I love it that much.
Next, we have 3-cost inkable Steel Nala, Fierce Friend. It's a 2/4 that turns for 2. It's about it.
I like the perspective for this card. She's
Yes.
like pinned you again, like she got you down, like they're playing that game really when they were kids.
Yeah.
The next card is 3-cost inkable Jafar Lamp Thief. He is a amethyst 2/2 storyborn villain sorcerer. I am your master now. When you play this character, look at the top 2 cards of your deck. Put one on the top of your deck and the other on the bottom. It's a filter card like Amethyst has a lot of. I like this particular scene in the movie. It's when he's changing from the sorcerer back to Jafar, because you can see he had his white robes and they're turning back to the black robes. It's just when he kind of reveals himself to be the bad guy at that point. And the art is great. The card is a 2/2 that turns for 2, which we like. I would rather pay 2 like the Genie than 3 for Jafar, but you can put them both in if you run a stories format.
Mm-hmm. Next, we have 2-cost inkable Trigger, Not That Sharp Shooter. He's a storyborn ally, Ruby 3/1. Your character's name Nutsy, gain +1. And
Oh,
he
that
turns
was
for 1.
but +1 lore pip, mind you.
Yes, +1 lore pip. Sorry.
So that's a little bit different then. And Nutsy was originally just a 2/3 that turns for 1. So a 2/3 that turns for 2 is decent. And so they can kind of work off of each other. They're both Ruby. So I don't see both of them seeing play, because you would want to have both in order to do it. I think it's cool that they have synergy with the stuff, kind of like Pain and Panic. But otherwise,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So another 2/2 for 2 that turns for 2 is the inkable 2-cost Pua Pot-Bellied Buddy. 2/2 turns for 2, as I said. Always there when this character is banished, you may shuffle this card into your deck. So even better than Genie, because it does something on top of it. So,
but it's not as cool as Genie.
I agree that it's not as cool as Genie, but it is a 2-cost inkable 2/2 that turns for 2, just like Genie. But also has an ability and is a common compared to the uncommon Genie. So that is interesting on how much they hung their hat on Itty Bitty Living Space, because it's such an awesome idea and card to then make a better one in purple.
Next, we have 2-cost 1/3 Amber Wendy Darling. And she turns for 2. That is it. I thought there was going to be more to it, and there really isn't.
I think that that's such a cool idea of her as a Dreamborn like captain. I don't know what Eero is in that language, but I think it's really cool that she's kind of piloting the flying Jolly Roger. I think a 1/3 that turns for 2 is also pretty good. It's kind of just like the Pua we just talked about in the Genie, that you're getting these out early and just starting to establish that sort of aggro. And I think it's good in a lot of formats, and I think it's going to see play. 3-buts are big in the 2 slot, and a 3-but that turns for 2 is even better.
Yeah.
This next card I love. I don't recall who revealed this, but it was relatively recent. It is a 3-cost action last ditch effort. It is an amethyst card with Maui just doing his best and being Maui. Exert chosen opposing character, then chosen character of yours gains Challenger 2 this turn. I think this card's really good.
Yeah.
It is uninkable, which is the only thing that's kind of slowing me down on just slapping 4 of it in most decks. You take Pua, your little 2/2 peg. You turn their, I don't know, their Alice, because it's sitting there and it's about to turn for 5 the next turn. You exert her, you give Pua +2. He kills the Alice and still alive to then be a cute little pig.
Yeah.
I think it's going to see some play. Unfortunately, it is in Amethyst, which means all those bounce cards are going to be even sillier. So that is the thing that disappoints me the most about this card, is just for how it strengthens Ruby Amethyst. But it is uninkable, and they're going to have to mess around with their uninkable slots to fit it in. But I think it's worth it. Can you imagine just chucking a rabbit or a goat with this? It's pretty interesting. I like this card a lot.
Yeah, I agree. Next, we have 2-cost inkable. Inkable. Wildcat's Wrench. You tap it, remove 2 damage from chosen location. I mean, I'm not sure yet what we're getting with locations that we're gonna need to remove damage from them. It might not be horrible,
Yeah.
but
I don't think that you want to dedicate spots in your deck to just healing 2 damage from a location. Locations are targets, right? They have targets on their back, and so healing them is obviously important. But I feel like if you're only going to damage a location in most instances, maybe you're not turning your guys with it. I'm not sure what the strategy for playing with or against locations is at this point, but I feel like this card is just a little too slow and not giving you what you need. If it was 2 damage from chosen location or character, then that would be something I would consider probably.
Yeah.
The next card is the 7-cost inkable King Louis Band Leader. He is in Sapphire. I thought it was Emerald, but I can't see. It's a Sapphire Storyborn Ally King. He's a 7/7 that turns for 3. If you think back just one set to Rise of the Floodborn, it was a 7/7 that turns for 2 in Lumiere, and now there's just a slightly better one in Sapphire. So great draft card. Well, decent draft card. 7's a little high.
Yeah.
But it's big butts cause big problems, and that is definitely what he's got going on.
Next, we have 2-cost Lena Saberwing. She's a 1/3 rebellious teenager with Rush. That turns for 1. I don't know why a 1/3 has Rush. I don't really like that. Yeah, we talked about that.
I love this character. I wish that her card was better because she's kind of like, I would say, well, we're about to see a bunch of cards of her, aren't we? Yeah. It's Magicka dispels like relative or niece or something. I can't quite remember. I am a little out from when I watched this. I don't remember what it is, but I know that she is affected by her magic, and she's wielding these 2 like fireballs in her hand. So you'd think she would be a little more badass than she kind of turns out to be. Love the character. Kind of disappointed in the card.
Yeah.
However, there is a Flintheart Glomgold, and I'm so excited that he got a card. Lone Cheater. He's a 4-cost inkable Sapphire card. He's a 3/4 that turns for 2, and on his turn he gains evasive. So he's just a bigger butt version of the Cruella de Vil that I love so much, and it's a character that I love. So I probably am a little higher on this card than I need to be. It's a 4-cost, which is not a common slot that has a lot of great cards right now. And I think there's some room for it. Since it turns for 2, if you don't have an evasive target, you're still, getting some more lore towards your total. And it's friggin' Flintheart Glomgold, and he deserves cards because he's awesome.
So next we're getting into, so these are all revealed cards by Lorcana that are going to be promos supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
The next couple. So first we have 2-cost inkable Scrooge McDuck. He's a Uncle Moneybags. He's a Sapphire 1/3, turns for 1. And his ability Treasure Finder. Whenever this character quests, you pay 1 less for the next item you play this turn.
It is a slightly smaller dock for items.
Yeah.
I love that it's Scrooge, and the card is mad at me. I love the art. Him diving in his gold.
Yeah.
It's not even gold, though. It's some different kind of gold here, because his gold coins are definitely round, and these are hexagonal, which is interesting. The next card is the 4-cost uninkable song How Far I'll Go from Moana. She's just chilling on her island looking at Te Fiti. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck. Put 1 into your hand and the other into your inkwell face down and exerted. I am on the fence of this. I like it. I like the fact that it's effectively a draw card with a little filter in there. And the other card, if you don't need it, you just chuck it into your ink. So you're still ramping, but also drawing a card. And it's a song. I don't mind singing this. There's plenty of, I would love to sing this with Flavor Sham since he's not doing anything usually after he comes into play. I think this is going to see some play. I'm really glad
Yeah.
that it is a promo card because I'd like to get my hands on it, as well as the next
It
one I
is.
want to get a 4 of. Which you?
It is also the playmat. This is one of the playmat arts for the set.
Okay. It's
this and the
beautiful.
Stitch, so I will probably be trying to pick up both of those. As much as I don't like the Stitch mat, and I think they should have used the one of him in the sunglasses and the cool Hawaiian shirt. But next we have debatably, well, there's 2 cards that these two synergize together.
I love this card.
So this is the 3-cost inkable Silver John Silver, Greedy Treasure Seeker. He's a 3/3 that turns for 1. Chart your own course for each location you have in play. He gains resist 1 and 1 lore pip. And it synergizes well with the 1-cost uninkable 2/5 Jolly Roger. Characters gain rush while here, and your pirate characters move there for free.
All right. So
God, this card is broken.
First off, you didn't mention one of the things about John Silver, Greedy Treasure Seeker. He's a Dreamborn villain alien pirate captain. So he ticks a lot of boxes for all, different synergies. He is a 3-cost 3/3, which is a good price as it is. And since you're effectively going to be running him in decks, presumably with 1-cost and 2-cost locations like the Jolly Roger you just discussed, he's going to be turning for 3 and 4 and silly numbers by just putting him down. Yeah. He's going to be hard to kill because he's going to have resist 3 or 4 depending on how much extra he's turning for. I think that card is fantastic. It's the card I'm the most searching for, other than the Jolly Roger, for my promo cards, and it's probably the first deck I'm going to build with the new set. Is just some pirate synergies because I've always wanted to build a pirate deck. I didn't feel they were quite strong enough, but now they are getting that support. The Jolly Roger, you have to pay 2 to go onto it, which is a little meh, but your pirates go there for free, so your John Silver goes there for free, and some other obvious choices go over there. So you could probably fill it up without paying that too. It doesn't feel as bad, and you have rush, so you're taking things down when otherwise you may not have been able to, and it's a 1-cost. So I love it. I'm so excited for these. The Jolly Roger so far is probably my favorite location. I think it's cool that it's also a mobile location, right? The Jolly Roger isn't necessarily a place in one spot. Yeah. It's mobile. So I think that kind of is interesting for what could be locations. Shout out to Breezy. Maybe he can get Cuscotopia.
Yeah, I mean, these are also promos. I think these are going to be dumb expensive promos, but nonetheless,
these will locals, maybe get them.
These will just both be promos I would like to get 4 of.
Absolutely. Next promo is Kit Cloud Kicker, which I'm very happy not only gets a card, but gets a promo. He is a 3-cost inkable 2/2.
Tough guy.
Cloud Kicker, tough guy. He's a Storyborn ally Sky Surfing. When you play this card, you may return chosen opposing character with 2 strength or less to their player's hand. Ooh, that's really solid. There's a lot of things that are expensive with 2 or less, but most of those things have interplay abilities, I would guess. But you're gaining a board advantage because you're popping something back into their hand and you're establishing a 2/2. I like it. I'm not super sold on it, but I think you could do some fun stuff with it.
Yeah. Next, we have 3-cost uninkable Ursula Sea Witch. It's an Amethyst 3/3 that turns for 1. Whenever this character quests, choosing opposing character can't ready at the start of the next turn. So a little bit of a cheaper budget Elsa.
I feel, but it doesn't exert, so that's not quite there. It's like it's a 3/3 with stuck added to it. I think it's interesting. The art is fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're gonna find the uninkable room for this one. Next card, 2-cost Repair. It's an action, a Sapphire action, 2-cost inkable, excuse me. Remove up to 3 damage from one of your locations or characters. I think that's really cool.
Yep.
It's not powerful enough, I think, to see play maybe in Standard, but it's really solid in Draft. And healing locations for 3 feels better than healing them for 2, like we were talking about before. I will just quickly do the next one as well, is the 1-cost action Quick Patch, which is remove up to 3 damage from chosen location. So it costs 1 less, heals the same amount, but does not target characters, and that one is in Amber. So in Amber and in Sapphire, you have location healing, which we knew was going to be a thing, but I don't think either of those see play because it just feels like you're using up a slot that you need for establishing, not healing your location a little bit.
Yeah. Next we have quick. Oh, you did quick patch, right?
Yeah, the
I
steel.
zoned out. It's a little late. Three cost inkable steel gizmo suit. They did make a mention that there was more to come with this specific card. So I assume there will be more. Gizmo suit was, you said Gizmo suit was whose suit?
Gizmo. It's Gyro's suit, but
Gyros.
it's
Yeah.
Gizmo Duck is like a superhero that wears that suit. So I'm guessing that they're just going to make Gizmo Duck, but they weren't quite ready to make actual Gizmo Duck yet, so they just have the Gizmo suit.
So cybernetic armor banish this item. Chosen character gains resist 2 until the start of your next turn. If you pair it with something that recycles it back, I don't think it's bad, but I think I'd rather just play mouse armor.
Yeah,
Get 2 is better than 1, but mouse armor you're getting to do it every turn.
Mouse armor's also uninkable, but yeah, I love the art. I love that it's kind of hinting about what's coming, but otherwise not unfortunately impressed enough, even as much as I love all of the DuckTales universe.
Yeah.
It's not going to get there for me. What does, however, get there for me is the next card. 2 cost inkable, strike a good match. It is a song from Mulan. Draw 2 cards, then choose and discard a card. Like, that's just really, really good.
Yeah.
Drawing 2 cards to sing on 2 is just, it's better than drawing 3 cards, or excuse me, 2 cards to sing on 3 with friends on the other side. Yes, you have to discard a card. There had to be a downside to it. I think this is a pretty solid, at least 3 of in most Emerald lists. It's just going to get you some of that advantage, and it's a frackin' song, man. It's also a really good song. When they're singing in the beginning, when they're trying to dress her up as effectively a concubine or what, I'm not sure what, that's not the right word, I guess, but something along those lines. They're putting all the white makeup on her, and you're like, you have to be very proper. Such a great, and that's when she gets the cricket, and great song, great card. I'm very excited about it.
Next, we have 3 cards that I'll talk about all at once because they all kind of go together. First is 2 cost Magica Dispel Ambitious Witch. She is all of these next 3 are Amethyst, so I only have to say this once. She's a 2/3 that turns for 1. Not much going on there. She is a shift target, and we'll get to her shift in a second. First, we have the 4 cost Inkable Magica Dispel Thieving Sorceress, who's a 3/4 that turns for 2. Her ability Telekinesis. Tap, return chosen item with cost equal or less to this character's strength to this player's hand, that's kind of what would pair good with Gizmo Suit, is being able to get it back, but then you again have to pay for it.
You can also just turn her to get back a popsicle. Just to draw
so one thing with
Quill, it's pretty cool.
One thing with the art of this card, the little gold box that her shadow is holding is the same box that Ariel, who's a What's It collector, has in her hand in that card from set 1.
Yeah, that is a nice little shout out that her shadow self is stealing things. So that's what her whole thing is, to steal stuff. So that's really cool.
So next, and then the shift card is 7 cost uninkable Magica Dispel the Midas Touch. She's a 4/6 with shift 5. Whenever this character quests, gain lower equal to the cost of one of your items in play. This card is a silver rare. I think is really good. It's going to be people are going to try to use this a lot.
Yeah, I think they're just going to build an item deck around this card. I think that it's a little slow, but it's a lot of fun. And the dream scenario is when you quest her, you have the dime in play and you gain 7 lore.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic. It's not super unfeasible. On turn 5, you can have can you have it? When does Scrooge cheat something into play? Is it when it comes into play? I'm going to go all the way down to Scrooge. It's going to be way at the bottom. Are you Scroogey McScrooge your pants?
He's Scrooging, hiding from you.
I did not realize how many cards have been revealed.
Yeah, there's a lot. We have 14 left, and
I can't find it right now. I tried to find it. There's just so many cards. All I know is you could cheat it into play. You can on turn 6 you can make it happen. Is the
Yeah.
long and short of that, and that would be really cool. Still think it's a little slow, but I would love to play with it. And I love Ducktales. I love Magica. I would probably build this deck just to have a Ducktales themed item deck.
Yeah. So next we have 5-cost uninkable Prince John, False King. He's a 2/4 emerald that turns for 2. He is a storyborn villain prince. Collect taxes. Every time this character quests, opponents that have more lore than you lose 2 lore.
Nice.
As an uncommon, 5 is a little steep, but I really like this.
Fun fact: first find alert. There's a hidden Mickey in the background with the bags of cash in the shape of a Mickey
Ooh,
Mouse.
I did not see that. Nice.
Yeah.
So both of his cards have hidden Mickeys in them.
And he's sleeping while coins are pouring into his chamber. It's really interesting. I like that card. I don't think it's great. I love when they have comeback mechanics and they can pull lore away from people. So that much I love, and I'd like to see this used. But I'm only a mad at a 5-cost 2/4. That's not really. I guess it's kind of doing Aladdin-y things sometimes.
Yeah, I sent you the article because I realized how many we have that aren't translated in a row.
I know what Chernobog does. I can just.
Um,
Spoiler alert. I guess we'll do that one since I just talked about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say Chernobog's a little far, but yeah, you could talk about it. Chernobog,
So,
evildoer.
10 cost. 10. I said 10. 1-0. 10 cost uninkable Chernobog Oobler super bad guy. I don't know what
Evildoer.
Evildoer. Okay. He is a 9/9 amber card. 9/9 that turns for 3. For each character card in your discard pile, he costs 1 less to play, and when you play him, you shuffle all of your character cards into your deck.
Yeah, this is. I think this is. Yeah, this looks like German, right?
Yes, this card is silly in that a lot of the times you have 10 character cards in your discard pile. It's not uncommon. So I feel like this is just a solid 2 of in most amber lists, just to put all your stuff back into your deck to re-go in that direction, and just to slap a 9/9 that turns for 3 into play.
Yeah.
Feels bad to have it let it code, but whatever. I think it's a really cool card. I think it's going to do some really cool things, and I'm excited to put it in pretty much all my amber lists.
Yeah. So going back up a little bit, we have 5-cost inkable Maid Marian. Marian, adorable dreamer. She's a 4/4 that turns for 2. Noble and aristocratic lady. When you play this character, chosen opposing character gets -2 strength. So just like the other one we talked about earlier, just in Sapphire.
Oh my gosh, okay.
I burped. Next we have 4-cost inkable. 4-cost uninkable amber Tinkerbell Generous Fairy. That's a 1/4 that turns for 1. Has find new friends. When you play this character, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal a character card and add it to your hand. Put the rest in the bottom of your deck in any order.
It does. So it does be our guest on this deck, which is I like the art, but I don't like that at a 1/4 uninkable. I know this next card is Hades. Looks like Angry Governor. I'm not sure what that is. What is governor?
That's a big word. Cantankerous ruler.
Cantankerous ruler. Yeah. Okay. He is a steel 5/5 that turns for 2. You can exert him to, I'm guessing, ready a Titan.
Ready all your Titan. Just ready your Titan characters.
Okay, so that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
I love the art. It's just all of their fists like up in the air, ready to go.
Next, we have the 1-cost inkable Chernobog's minions, Creatures of Evil. They're a 2/1 storyborn ally. Restless Souls. When this character quests, you may banish them. It says him, but I would consider it a them, considering there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 of them.
Alrighty. Them. It is. Each of them have 1/13 of a willpower.
Yes. When this character quests, you may banish them to draw one card.
It's like Breezy's favorite
Yeah.
card. Here's the contact info for Sakura's card shop. Oh, thank you so much, Siri.
Yeah, Siri. Siri likes to not be useful.
So the next card is the 3-cost uninkable Kokomora. It is one of those little coconut dudes from Moana. It is a 3/2 that turns for 1. This is definitely in German. So when
you play this character,
damn it.
When you play this character, all opponents lose 1 lore.
Oh, nice. Love that. Love that ability. Next one is 4-cost inkable 3/4 Chief Tui, Proud of Montanui. He's a steel card that turns for 2. I'm cool. I love Chief Tui, and he looks badass carrying that rock up to the cairn at the top of the hill.
So next we have the Peter Pan that has the Enchanted. It's a 6-cost inkable.
Spoiler alert, thanks.
Peter Pan Pirate's Bane. He's a 4/5. He's shift 4 with evasive. Turns for 2, and whenever he challenges a pirate character, this character takes no damage from the challenge. I think we've talked about this before.
Yes.
Same with the Captain Hook, which is a 5-cost inkable Master Swordsman. He's a ruby 5/4. Nemesis, during your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, ready this character, he can't quest, and characters named Peter Pan lose evasive and can't gain evasive.
So here's what I love about the dichotomy of these two cards. When I seeing them next to each other, it is each of the cards is just them battling, facing different directions. So yes. Captain Hook is from the perspective of Peter Pan, and Peter Pan is from the perspective of Captain Hook. Captain Hook is a 5/4. Peter Pan is a 4/5. Peter Pan has evasive. Captain Hook makes him lose evasive. It's very much just them battling back and forth.
Yeah.
That being said, I don't think either of them are particularly playable, but they're neat.
Yeah. We've talked about the bare necessities. It lets you discard a non-character card of your choice from their hand. Next, we have Grammatala, the Keeper of Ancient Stories, 4-cost inkable Sapphire 3/3, turns for 1. There was only the Ocean. When you play this character, look at the top 2 cards of your deck. You may put 1 in your hand, the rest in the bottom of your deck in any order. So you just get to scry 2, kinda, sorta.
Yeah, that's the typical water.
Yeah.
Sapphire ability.
Water card.
I guess that is actually a water card. She is the Lady of the Ocean. Not impressed. I think it's meh, to be fair. Yeah. I guess that's why it's a comment. Last card. And for our last card, we have another Lilo and Stitch card. I'm happy that they added one. This is the 5-cost inkable Amber card, Nani Protective Sister. She is a 3/6 Storyborn hero that has Bodyguard and turns for 2. Let me handle this, Lilo. Perfect, just thematic card for her. Love Bodyguard. Yeah. I think a 3/6 Bodyguard solid.
I don't know if I'd run this over. It's tough because you lose support without having Maximus, but you get that extra 1 for having. She has a little bit of a bigger butt, and she also turns for 2, which Maximus has that extra 1 distributed into his strength, and he has support. But a lot of the times, I'm not using the support with Maximus. So in certain decks where you don't need the support, I think this is a better option because it has that 1 more, and it turns for 2.
And it's Lilo and Stitch. So also good for stories format in that way as well. So that was, I believe, 54 cards that were revealed since 1 week when we last did this.
Yeah.
I anticipate doing one more big chunk of these our next episode. We could skip a few of them, but to be fair, as we said, we are not necessarily going to do a specific set review during our normal episodes. We're probably going to do a separate set review because they do typically tend to run long like this.
This is also basically our set review now. We're getting through most of it.
But it's much better to review the set when we know what other cards they can synergize with. But
they're all in English.
Salivating over these cards. I cannot wait. I'm planning to do some serious drafts. My wife said that she's going to play the game, and I am
I didn't hear
excited.
that.
Yeah, that's some news. So I'm excited to teach her. She, I feel some actual excitement from her. So it's pretty cool. She's just seeing how much fun I'm having and how much all my friends are really digging it, and it's just a really, really great game, and I'm so excited for this next set. But I think
with
that it's 1:11 in the morning on the day that this is supposed to be released, everybody.
Yeah.
So we did get it done because we had a
Super
very
Bowl
busy
messed
week.
us up.
Sure did, but it shan't do it again because this is too late.
Yeah. So with that, thank you guys all for listening and being here through us talking about all these new cards. And next week, our episodes are going to be, I think the next couple weeks, they're going to feel a little different. With no more spoiler alert, we're going to have a new segment that we'll introduce, and everything just being a little weird because of the new set. But don't worry, give it like 2 weeks and we'll be back to our normal scheduled programming. Hopefully, in the next couple of cards that get revealed, we see either more Wreck-It Ralph or we see some Big Hero 6 cards. But
I would love Wreck-It Ralph. I really hope to get that. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We really appreciate it.
Yes, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.